Commissioners. We are resuming, I believe, with our next department, Justice Services. Mr. Carey.
Good morning, Madam Chair, honorable commissioners. Thank you for a little bit of time today. I will try to be as brief as possible. My name is Pete Carey. I'm the Executive Director of Justice Services for El Paso County. I brought along the supervisory staff of Veteran Services because today my critical need request is for 3 additional veteran service officers. So I have El Paso County's Veteran Service Officer, Mr. Marshall Bosworth here, along with Assistant Veteran Service Officer Charles Graves and our Office Manager, Mr. Chad Fair. So thank you guys for attending. Simply put, the El Paso County Veteran Services Division helps local veterans navigate the complicated process of claiming federal benefits for their military service. El Paso County has well over 100,000 veterans and family members. We are truly a garrison community, and I really like to use that term. I think that's pretty cool, and it means a lot to me and our staff. Our Veteran Service Office is really, really busy. They conduct between 6,000 and 8,000 client contacts per month, many in person. I think one of the most significant parts of this slide is the effectiveness of when a VSO from El Paso County works with a veteran. If a veteran walks in, makes an appointment, and uses our services, the average annual disability compensation is about $20,000. If they do not, it's about $10,000 annually. And that final bullet regarding about $500,000 in retroactive payments so far in 2023, that's a little bit underreported. We simply don't have a full-time staff to track that number, but I think it ended up being well over $800,000 last year. So in trying to find out where we need to be as far as wait times, that's our big issue. When a veteran comes in and needs to be served by one of our VSOs, it's the wait time, in particular with first-time vets as well as appeals. And some guidance we've gotten from the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, as well as Colorado Division of Veterans Affairs, is we should try to stay around a 2-week wait time for a veteran to meet with the Veteran Service Officer, and no more than a 2 business day delay in responding to any inquiry. Honestly, we're challenged with that. It's tough in the last year or 2, and I'll explain why. As it stands right now, our wait time for that first appointment for our veterans is about 6 weeks, probably a little bit over that since PACT Act. And it's just a high demand for veterans and family members. Some of the things that we have done in 2023 in order to tighten up our operation and be a little bit more lean and mean and effective is on this slide. We have trained a very, very new staff, admin techs, to do the scheduling right now. I think Mr. Graves started that program and tested it with himself. A lot of moving parts there, asking the right questions, making sure that they have the right documents when they come in for the first meeting, or that 6 weeks is wasted. It's working very, very well to the point where we are now able to ask our VSOs to have 6 appointments a day, up from 5. So we've increased that capacity. It's a big, busy, rigorous schedule each and every day, though. The way they're set up is Monday through Thursday, our VSOs meet 6 veterans, and on Fridays they try to catch up with the calls and the texts and the telephone messages, and that can be anywhere from a few hundred per VSO. We've also tightened up how we help Fort Carson with benefits delivered before discharge, or BDD claims. I'm learning some of these military terms. I understand about half of what these guys say, but I'm getting some of this now. And basically, as someone is, I believe, within 6 months of leaving their military service through Fort Carson, we meet with them and get them scheduled and get them squared away on what they're going to need as far as the claims upon retirement. So we're exclusively focusing in the last year on veterans that are going to stay in El Paso County. So that's helped us streamline that a little bit. I'm very, very proud of what we've done for the changes in PACT Act and the expansion of benefits in the last year in El Paso County. We've led the state, we've led the nation on some of the programs we've helped inform and serve our veterans. An example is the 18 claims clinics, as well as 2 additional claims clinics for our veterans. We held a 3-day PACT Act clinic that was held in August. I think Mrs. Bryan attended that. Well over 1,000 veterans showed up, and it was quite a collaboration between the state and the feds. So our justification, as I've already touched on, is our wait time has increased from about 3 to 4 weeks in the last year or so to well over 6 weeks. That does not comport very well with our strategic plan and our goals as far as service quality, as well as our vision statement as far as a trusted regional leader known for excellence in county service delivery. I truly believe that the El Paso County Veteran Services Unit is a trusted leader. The hook right now is the amount of time it takes for a veteran to get that service, and I think we can do better. One of the things that we've observed is when a veteran does not want to wait for the amount of time that it takes to get into our office, they take a risk and they complete the forms and they try to do it without our help. And in many cases, it ends up in incomplete claims and some financial loss. As I've already said, it's about double from 10,000 to 20,000 when we help. Again, it just greatly improves the odds of success for our veterans. The game plan, if you approve hiring 3 additional veteran service officers, one will go to the Mount Carmel Service Center, where there is already 2 veteran service officers as well as an admin tech, and the other 2 will come over to our building on the east side and complement that team over there. This depicts the cost of adding 3 VSOs, and my request for the 2024 budget is all in 2008, 169, 208, 169. I think this is absolutely needed. It's necessary. I've had the honor and privilege of working with this team for the last couple of years. In my 40 years of public service, I've worked with a lot of highly effective teams, but what I see this group do day in and day out, serving people that have well-deserved needs that need to be met and the benefits that they get for them, it's amazing. It's an honor working with those guys. I do see some wear around the edges as far as the pace that we're holding them to, 6 veterans a day, as well as sometimes hundreds of follow-up calls on Friday. My hope is, and I will reduce those numbers in 2024, my hope is to get it down below a month as far as the wait time when people come in through the door. So thank you very much. I appreciate your support over the last couple of years, as well as Mr. Waters and Mrs. Sonny Bryant.
Thank you, sir. I just want to commend you and your staff. I know that the workload has been very high, and just to clarify for the public too, it may not sound like a lot of appointments to have your VSOs doing 5 to 6 appointments a day, but those are incredibly intense and incredibly detailed, and it's shown in the results that you get when we do an application. But that initial consult or the consults that occur are incredibly time intensive, and so 5 to 6 appointments a day is quite impressive. And then in addition to answering the questions and finishing the other applications that come in during that time, and running the clinics, I'm incredibly proud of what your division does, what this division does, and I mean, I think this is one of the most targeted and strategic critical needs things we could do right now.
Thank you. And when we try to schedule an hour per appointment, that's if all goes well. There are many times when the lobby has people waiting because their appointment has been delayed because of something going on. But, and again, if it's okay with you along that point, I'd ask Marcel to come up and talk to you about our our satisfaction surveys, what those numbers have been in the last year. So maybe that's a good time to just briefly talk about that, Marshall.
Thanks, Pete. Good morning, Commissioners. Specifically with our surveys, they're kind of simple. They really just ask how their service was from the minute they walk through the door to the minute they walk out the door, highlighting the customer service at the front desk, the service they got from the veteran service officer, and the outcome. And then we ask how they learned about our service. One of the questions that we have on our survey, which we don't grade, but we ask the question about the waiting times. And our average, so up to this point this year, we just looked at this about 2 days ago, is a 4.85 out of 5 is our satisfaction. And everybody is usually extremely happy with the services that they're provided. The biggest and mostly only complaint that we get is our wait times. When we have to, some folks are actually waiting about up to 2 months to come and just get an appointment with us. And if for some reason they don't bring the stuff we've asked them to bring or whatever, that delays it even more. And so they tend to go find services somewhere else that are not being provided by accredited service officers. And then we end up fixing a lot of those problems too, which is another part of that. But so really 4.8 out of 5, I'm really proud of that. I think that's a good number to have. I really like to maintain that, if not even make it higher, but the waiting times is really the biggest piece that we're gigged on, if you want to call it that. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And we look forward to hearing more about and from your department in our upcoming Veterans Day proclamation in the next few weeks.
So I'll continue to report those numbers on the citizen satisfaction survey. Marshall didn't like me to add the numbers on the wait time, so I did that, but I asked for the comments on, are you okay with the wait time? So I think the 4.8 might be affected if we graded the wait time, so we didn't do that this year. But again, I'll be reporting not only the survey results as well as what the wait times on average are in 2024, and we will get that down.
Excellent. Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I appreciate the information. I know this is valuable, and you'll be able to utilize the additional manning and funding for what we want to do is making sure we're taking care of our veterans and our local population and what we can do for them. My one, as this had come to us in the last couple of months, a lot of this is because of the PACT Act, and we've been looking, with our federal partners, congressional delegation, to, hopefully there's will be additional funding for some of these VSOs, et cetera, for the state as well. But the delays, the slowness because of the increased applications trying to get benefits. The surge we're seeing now may not be long term. Once this initial year of PACT Act applicants goes through, it may stay. We don't know. And so I think in my comments over the last couple of months, as we saw the original budget was, if the numbers go back down, the timeliness goes down, that, instead of 2, maybe that third position goes to another area in the county. If the numbers come down and justified, I'll likely no longer be a commissioner at that point, but I did highlight that in my comments. I just want to make sure that that's something that the staff understands, that maybe one of those bills might in the future be better off somewhere else if the numbers return more to the numbers we've seen in the last several years. If not, then absolutely we'll support the full 3 additional VSOs long term. But that was just a comment I had as I saw these numbers, and I know the surge is largely because of PACT Act changes. Thank you.
I appreciate that comment, Commissioner, and your attention to detail on that. What we've seen in the last year or so since PACT Act 822 is these are local El Paso County veterans. They're staying here, and our veterans service officers will serve them or their family members if they pass away for the rest of their lives. But for what we're seeing in the last year is they are El Paso County residents and veterans, and they're staying here. But I appreciate that, and I'll give you the numbers to support that, and make sure we're tracking that very closely. I don't believe the PACT Act definitely jumped it up, but I believe it's not going to be a fad. It's going to. They're really, really busy.
Thank you. So really appreciate this. And obviously this is, as it is to, I think, every one of us, near and dear to my heart, especially as a military spouse. And the PACT Act was, I think, a very important thing for our military families, having a spouse that served overseas near all those burn pits and all those things, and having so many people that we met along that journey and knowing the impacts to so many people. I'm pleased that they're taking advantage of the opportunity that this is, and I think it's, I appreciate that we're doing the very best that we can, but we have to do better. We have to do better for these folks. So I'm very supportive of this. I do have a couple of questions. So you said currently we're at about 6 weeks in terms of wait time, and with these 3, what I think I heard maybe we'd get down to more like 4 weeks. What is the goal with these 3, and what do we expect to see once we start getting these 3 people in place? What changes, what milestones will we see to really see the benefit here for our
Great question.
community?
So thank you for that question. Again, if approved, it's going to take a little bit of time to hire them and get them trained and accredited. What I can tell you is in the last year, we've gone through this at least once with a new VSO. Once he was up and running, and I ask about this every week, is what are you seeing in the results here? And it looks like based on the favorable work this new VSO is doing, my expectation is we're going to take at least, for each new VSO, at least 1 week off of that wait time and reduce that with that additional 30 veterans coming in and seeing that person, 25 to 30 veterans. So there will be a little bit of a delay in getting that person up to speed and accredited so they can get into the VA system and all that. But my hope, my realistic hope is that those numbers start dropping in second quarter. And by the third and fourth quarter, we're down well under a month. Heard that.
Follow up? Yeah, just to follow up on that, I really appreciate that. Thank you for quantifying that. And I, as I said, I'm very supportive of this because I think, if there is anyone in our community who deserves to make sure that they are, their wait times are not significant, it is this population that has given so much for our nation. So I'm very supportive of this. But I would say, and I'm sure that we will get updates along the way, but I just want to kind of put it on the record that I would really like to see an update. If you're saying second quarter, then second quarter of next year, I would want to see, maybe come, whether here or an informal meeting or whatever that looks like. I'll leave the details to you and the county administrator, but I would really like to see some updates on this so that we really are understanding and making sure that we are seeing those wait times go down for those members of our community, because it's just so important.
Thank you. Will do.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I just want to thank everybody in the VSOs and the entire office and all of Justice Services for the great work that you do. And, I like it that you're actually monitoring the wait times. These are actually, indicators of things that deal with performance. But I do have a couple of questions myself. So the first one is the PACT Act itself. Is this increased workload anticipated to be transient until the backlog gets worked off, or is it anticipated to be a permanent increased workload?
I'm going to, sir, I'll let Marshall come up and speak to that. But my understanding is this has expanded the net of available benefits for our veterans. It's going to be here to stay. It's a good thing for our veterans. We just need to increase our capacity to handle it. But I believe it will be here to stay. The last year has not been a good year to gauge it because there was a period of time between August of 22 and August of 23 to get as many people intent filed so that they would get backdated to August of 22. So that's why we pushed real hard with all those stand downs and events. But it will be here, and I think it will continue. Marshall?
Thank you, Commissioner, for that question. I do believe, I'll just say, since the first year of the PACT Act ended at the beginning of August, we have not slowed down with people requesting to do PACT Act claims. And the big push for the first year was because it affected their effective date of claim to when the date was signed into law. but the PACT Act is here to stay. It's not going away. I would imagine over time it may slow down some, but I think that's years to come. And additionally to that, as Pete alluded to, is when we have veterans or family members that come to us, they're our clients for life. So we don't see somebody 1 or 2 times and then we don't ever see them again. We see them basically forever. So our workload continues to just grow. It doesn't slow down unless, people pass away or maybe move away. But we get more coming in than we do in those other circumstances.
Yeah, thank you. And I just wish, as much as the VA does help a lot of people, I wish they would actually monitor their wait times as well, because it took me 18 months to get my disability rating, 18 months. And, I'm not trying to be critical, but for Pete's sake, they have one of the biggest chunks of the federal budget and
I
one
got
of the
that.
biggest
Thanks.
chunks of the federal budget, and they can't manage this. I think that's also an immense level of frustration for veterans.
Yes, sir. And
And if they would just do a design about how to think about that process and do some kind of a design to improve the speed of it, we would all benefit from that.
And with your support last year, we have trained and hired an appeal specialist. And if I'm not mistaken, Marshall, I think there was one in the state before that, one state appeal specialist to help a veteran. And that person would usually call the vet a day before saying, hey, you ready tomorrow? Here's what we're going to do. We put the time and work into it, and our numbers are going to show how successful we are on these appeals. And at last count, I asked Marshall this morning, El Paso County Veteran Service Office appeals specialist is doing from 1/3 to 1/2 of all of Colorado's appeals, because there's that many veterans here and because people know our reputation. But it would be good if they paid attention to those numbers too.
Thank you.
Commissioner Williams.
I just wanted to thank Marshall and the staff, because this is such an important thing that the county does, and we do it the best in the state. And that is so important. We are the gold standard for the other veterans offices throughout counties in the state, and we love our military community, and we want to treat the veterans with the status they deserve. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for the kind words. I try not to give him a big head, but he's got quite a reputation, both at the federal and state level. When policies being decided on or made, he gets calls from our national senators to our state organizations asking him, how are you guys doing it down there? What do you think about this? I know he's been very involved in recent weeks with some conversations about a stipend payment coming back to counties for full-time accredited VSOs, and he's put a lot of work into that. And I think from a financial point of view, I've shared it with Nikki, I think that may help ease the burden a little bit in the future here, and it's well-deserved. I mean, our county's doing the heavy lifting on this. Thank you.
Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you. So I just wanted to make one kind of final comment, and I greatly appreciate your words about Marshall and the fantastic work that's doing. And I know we're talking about critical needs, and this is a huge part, but I also wanted to take a moment to just thank you, Pete, for all of the work that you're doing. This is one piece of all kinds of different things that that you are managing, and I wanted to even though it's not a critical need that presented today, I wanted to just acknowledge that work that you're doing, and thank you for the tremendous work that you're doing with community corrections as well. We just because it's not a critical need doesn't mean there aren't fantastic things going on there. And so I just wanted to point out that, again, one of those things that we are trying very hard to do is make sure that when we have, criminal things going on in our community and we see crime rising, looking deep into the data and what is happening in those programs and figuring out ways to be more successful and keep our community safe and rehabilitate people back to being productive members of society. So just wanted to mention that and thank you for that in addition to being focused on this critical need.
Thank you very much.
Any further comments or questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.